The Nevada Wolfpack out of the Mountain West Conference is next. Caleb Martin, Cody Martin, and Kendall Stevens represent the student body. We go for 20 minutes. There is no opening statement from any of the young men, so we'll go right to questions. Right there.
For all the players, Teresa Walker, Associated Press, what was it that drew you to Nevada, if I said that rightly, I hope? And what was the attraction when you were looking for a place to transfer, and what has made the school and the program work so well?
Let's start with Caleb and go left to right.
I mean, for me, I say Nevada too, but when I first got there, people said, you're saying it wrong. It's supposed to be Nevada, but I still say Nevada, so it was cool. But, I mean, just the attraction to the school was you could just see the uprising of the program and Coach Musselman and his NBA background and the style of play was very important for us, especially coming from NC State, which we ran a UCLA offense. And I just think the main attraction was of how he wanted us to game on defense, how freely he wanted us to play, how fast he wanted us to play, and just how the player-coach relationship was a big thing for us.
Yeah, for me, it's pretty much the same thing. But another thing that kind of attracted us here is, he recruits a lot of transfers, and it's easy to connect with those guys because you're coming from somewhere where you kind of have the same experience, and and I think that's what our chemistry has a lot to do with. And you get here and you kind of connect all on the same levels, and once you figure out that people have the same experience as you, and it's just a lot better playing for the guy next to you, so it makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah, I think it being a winning culture and kind of what the coaching staff presented to us on our visits, really they mapped out and gave us a good blueprint of what they expected individually and as a team. And so once they did that, it kind of felt like it was the right decision. It was kind of a no-brainer for my part.
This would be for any of you guys. In looking ahead to tomorrow when you're facing Cincinnati, they are statistically one of the best defensive teams in the country. But what do you guys see on them on film that makes them such a good team defensively?
Cody and Kendall, please.
After watching film and prepping for them, I think the biggest thing is that they rebound like madmen, and all of them go to the glass, and that's what makes them a really hard team. They don't initially score on their first shots, but they always get second chance rebounds. They score a lot. They draw a lot of FTAs. But because of that, there'll be some things that we can take advantage of. But that's what makes them really good. They're just tough guys. They're gritty. So we're just in for a dogfight.
Yeah, and exactly everything he said. They're just a very physical team. They pride themselves on defense and toughness. But at the same time, they still have some deficits and weaknesses that, we're looking forward to taking advantage of.
Daryl Moody, Nevada Appeal. Cody and Caleb, you'll see a familiar face on the other bench tomorrow in Kyle Washington. Can you talk about the relationship with him, and, do you guys stay in touch during the season?
Caleb first.
Yeah, Kyle's my guy. I just saw him, walking over there, and I've talked to him for a little bit, talked to him for the game yesterday, and, he's rooting us on and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, whenever the clock starts tomorrow, we can't be friends no more. We're going to have to wait till afterwards, and he knows that. And Gary Clark is my boy, too. We get together a lot over the summer and hoop in Raleigh a lot. But, I got a couple guys, those are my guys. But, they know same thing goes for us, too. Whenever the clock starts, we can be friends afterwards, but we're all here for the same reason. That's to advance.
Yeah, same thing pretty much. Those are our guys, and at the end of the day, it's nice to see your friends and stuff succeed. But at the end of the day, in this situation, only one person can advance. So we want it to be us. So at the end of the day, it's going to be a dogfight, and we know how much we put into it, and we all have the same mindset. So I'm looking forward to it.
Shannon Russell, The Athletic. To go off that question for both you guys, Kyle said he was really impressed when you came into NC State, that you held your own as freshmen, that you were able to kind of talk mess, as he said, in a way that he wasn't expecting. What are your memories of Kyle, or any good stories you might have of playing with him at NC State?
Cody, you lead us off this time, please.
I have a lot of memories with Kyle, and he was there for me when I had some tough situations when I was there. But he's a king of trash talk when we were there, and I think that he kind of rubbed off on us. And, we were pretty decent at it when we first got there, but just knowing how he took it to another level. So it was just nice having that experience with him. And, it's not, like I said, it's nice to see that he went somewhere and he succeeded and doing what he wants to. But I mean, yeah, we just have a lot of memories of him. Like, good dude.
Yeah, pretty much the same bank off that. Like, you know, he's kind of our big brother there when we came there as freshmen, and he kind of got us through the whole entire college experience while he was there. And you know, we loved each other like brothers, and we fought each other like brothers. You know, I remember me and Cody would in practice we'd be on the same team, and Kyle would be on the other team, and somebody go up for a rebound, somebody get hit hard, and the next thing you know, we're all squaring up at each other. But it's all love, you know. After practice, you know, there's nothing changed, so you know, everything's the same.
Kendall, kind of like Texas, I mean, they like to play at a slower pace. I guess what's going to be the key to you guys, you know, playing at the tempo that you want, getting your offense, you know, in the rhythm early rather than having to take kind of the first half to do that like you did against the Longhorns?
Yeah, we know that, you know, we feel like we have a better offense than them, but at the same time, slowing them down, transition on defense is going to be key for us. They get a lot of points, you know, off of transition points and fast breaks and off of turnovers. So I think if we take care of the ball like we've been doing this season, as well as stopping them in transition, it's going to work for our favor.
Terry Nelson, 700 WLW. They say a brother is born for adversity. What's the earliest memory that you guys have of you guys really competing and going at each other and not wanting to stop until one of you guys won?
Who wants to take that one first? Because whoever gets it first gets the upper hand.
Oh, my God. Go ahead, man.
I mean, yeah, I'll go first. I mean, ever since I can remember. Honestly, like we used to fight over this. It wasn't even only about sports. It'd be just about anything, you know. But one memory I had, we just playing outside, you know, and I think we got mad at each other for some reason. And somebody, I think Cody had grabbed, because we went to a carnival or something like that, and so he had one of the balls that I won from a contest, and he kicked the ball in the woods for some reason, because I beat him or something. And so he didn't know his was laying about like 3 feet next to me. So I went and grabbed his, kicked his in the woods. And then they say, you know, we were rolling around the grass fighting each other until the next door neighbors had to go get my mom, try to come out there and grab us because she knew we wasn't gonna stop. But I mean, there were so many of that, certain situations like that. We used to just fight over anything. It doesn't matter if it was cards, basketball, whatever, a video game. It doesn't matter.
Pretty much. I mean, there's a lot of them, but another thing is wherever we're playing Madden and stuff, and it's like at the end of the game, he gets a pick six to win the game. I get mad, and the next thing you know, wherever they're fighting on the couch, we put a hole in the wall. So it is what it is.
Follow-up question to that. Have you guys ever said, let's take it to the court to sort of iron out the differences? Like you ever have those late night sessions on campus or whatever where you say, look, meet me in the gym and let's go at it?
I mean, we do that regardless, but it always ends up in a fist fighting anyway. So
we can never finish the game. We can't. That's why a lot of times whenever we play pickup, we can't really guard each other because we won't end it. We can't finish the game because I mean, me and Cody would just be over there fighting. It won't even be. It'll be football. It won't be basketball anymore.
Charlie Goldsmith, SB Nation. Cody, how would you describe Nevada's offensive system, and what is your guys' mentality on that side of the ball?
For our offense, I think it's just a lot of it's like because Coach Muss has that NBA mentality in terms of spacing and positionless basketball, and I think that's what really helps us out playing five guards. And we can really spread the floor, something that you don't really have to worry about getting the ball to necessarily a one guy when you get the rebound and go. I think that has a lot to do with our team and how versatile our team is all across the board, and being able to switch 1 through 5 makes life a lot easier. And I don't know, for our offense, we can drive and kick, and then if people try to take away the three ball, we can get to the lane and finish. And you know, I think we just have a lot of things that we can go to in terms of like tough situations and things like that. There's nothing that we primarily rely on. So
we are halfway through the session. Next question's right here.
I'm Jerry Bembry from ESPN's Undefeated. Just a light question for Cody and Caleb. Since you guys are so identical with your beards and your hairstyles, has there been any point in your career where you've tried to fool an official during the game?
Caleb?
Fool an official? I mean, I'm sure there's been a couple of times, like during a halftime, where somebody's playing bad, or maybe one of us has got too many fouls. So you know, if somebody's playing good, they want to switch. So like, say if I'm playing well, and he's not, and I got like 4 fouls, and he's got like 2. I'm sure we've been tempted a couple times to switch jerseys, but I don't want him playing my minutes, and he don't want me playing his minutes. So, we definitely don't. I'm definitely not going to let him take mine. So.
I mean, pretty much the same thing. I feel like sometimes they do a pretty good job at that, messing up themselves, and I don't blame them. So, it is.
One more question here. Your competitive nature, does this have anything to do with the fact that, your mom had to take 3 jobs to make sure that you guys had everything that you had and you didn't have to worry about anything, and the sacrifice that she made, it's like just the fact that you're paying her back by living your dreams out?
Caleb?
I mean, for sure. Like, just like you said, like, the way we grew up and stuff, like nothing was ever given. So I think that just plays a big role on how we went through our college career and how we play on the court. She's instilled that kind of, you got to earn everything mentality, just the way she got it. And so that's just the way we try to instill our play into our games, and make sure that we show everybody that our game isn't just, for mine example, like not just shooting threes or anything like that. Like I want to go get a rebound. Like at the end of the day, we want to be the last people standing, and I think that just plays a big role in the way we play too.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it too. I think that the biggest thing for us is seeing her go through that and her sacrificing what she had to sacrifice for us and to allow us to do what we want to do. We have that kind of mentality that we're going to fight for everything that we have, and nobody's going to take it away from us, at least without us giving 100%. So I think that has a lot to do with it, and I know that she's proud of us. So, every time we step on that court, every time we practice, things like that, it's bigger than just us. So.
Anything else for the student athletes from the Wolfpack? Okay, gentlemen, very good job. Congratulations. Good luck tomorrow. All right, good job. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Coach Eric Musselman is up next at 2:40. Head coach of the Wolfpack is here, Eric Musselman. We're going to ask him to open up with a statement in this day between games, and then we'll go to questions. Eric, please.
We feel fortunate with the outcome of last night's game. Obviously, Texas played phenomenal and controlled most of the game, and we were able to get hot towards the end. And as we told our team last night, we have to turn the page and have great maturity. We enjoyed the win last night, and it was the first win in a long time for our program in the NCAA tournament. And so now we have to get ready for Cincinnati, which is one of the best teams in the entire country. They play with great consistency, great toughness. Well, they're one of the best coached teams in the entire nation, have great talent, and one of the best rebounding teams playing college basketball.
Right here.
Yeah, Coach, Cincinnati is statistically one of the best defensive teams in the country. From your point of view, what makes them so effective on that end of the floor?
I mean, they have a great matchup zone. They switch everything. And I think anytime a team can switch things and keep the ball in front and then defensive rebound, it's going to make you really good. They do a great job of defending the three ball. They create turnovers. Their steals ignite their offense. So for all those reasons, again, the switching, matchup, zone, ability to defensive rebound, and then, they have three guys that are high-volume steal players. So all those things are what I think ignite their defense, and we're going to have to do a great job taking care of the basketball. We're still going to be who we are. We're going to try to take threes, and if they take the threes away just as we did against Texas, we've got to do a good job of driving the basketball and not settling for threes if they do a good job closing out and taking away the three ball, which they've done a tremendous job all year taking away threes from opponents.
Teresa Walker, the Associated Press. Asked the players this when they were in here. For you, though, with getting transfers on campus, what makes getting them working together so quickly, building chemistry? What is the big challenge in doing that, and what's made it so effective?
I think for us, the transfers, all of them have sat out a year, so we've had a year to try to get them involved with our terminology and get them involved in our culture. To me, it's easier than a freshman because a freshman comes in and he's in uniform right away. And with our transfers, again, they have 12 months to practice. They have no games. Their practices become their games. We don't call it a transfer year or a sit-out year or a redshirt year. We call it a player development year. And it's all about our staff investing in that player's career, trying to get him to become a better basketball player, looking at his deficiencies and trying to turn those deficiencies into strengths. And so for us, the transfer thing, even though it's really hurt our depth over the last 3 years, having 4 transfer sit-outs each of the 3 years, when you only have 13 scholarships and 4 guys are sitting out, it's going to have wear and tear, and you can't get in foul trouble and all these other things. But having said that, we had a plan that in year 4 we wanted to be as good as we possibly could. We're in year 3. We've made steps each year in the development of the program, and then I think just from my standpoint, being a coach who comes from the minor leagues, if you're coaching the LA Lakers, D-League team, they might take a guy up, send a guy down, take another guy up 2 weeks later, send another 2 guys down, and so it's a constantly revolving door. So for me, the roster changeover is, I think it's pretty easy, and there's really not much change.
We're on the right, Eric.
How you doing, Coach? Terry Nelson, 700 WLW. You've heard this adage. You've been around long enough. You dress 10, play 8, and you trust 5. Your depth issues have necessarily worked in your favor where you consolidate your lineups, but you play them heavy minutes, and even in a chaotic style that you guys are playing, running and shooting threes, it really hasn't hampered your efforts.
Yeah, I think that a lot of it begins in the summer when we go up to Lake Tahoe and we do our training. And the one thing we talk to our guys about over and over is just the conditioning. And I think if you look at last night's basketball game, we played 6 players. We got better in overtime. And as a coach, you have to evaluate what you're doing. And in year one and year two, the lack of depth didn't hurt us at all. The one thing I know, like when I walk in that locker room after reaching every game, everybody's happy because everybody's playing. And, one thing that when you're able to sit back and be an assistant coach, I couldn't figure out, coming from the world I came from, which is pro basketball, where there's a 48-minute game instead of a 40. You're playing 4 to 6 games a week, it felt like, in the minor leagues or the NBA. You got to have some depth just because of the 82-game schedule compared to a 30-game schedule. So I think the most overrated thing in college basketball is depth. Now, having said that, we can't afford to get in foul trouble, and we understand that. And we didn't plan on Lindsey Drew, a 3-year starter, blowing his Achilles out. Obviously, we wish we still had Lindsey, and our depth would be a little bit different because he was a guy that played 30-some minutes every single night for us. So that injury has taken a big-time toll on us. But we've kind of adjusted on the fly. Our power forward is now our point guard. And, we've done an incredible job taking care of the basketball regardless of who our point guard is. And obviously getting a shot on goal is extremely important against Cincinnati. We can't turn the ball over and have live ball turnovers and let them get out and their athletes get out and finish in transition.
Down here on the left this time.
Coach Chris Dortch from the Field House. Kendall said that your pitch to him was, playing the NBA style. How did you identify him, and can you talk about the recruiting process with him and also how he has worked so beautifully into your system?
Well, the recruiting process with Kendall, his father, Everett, played for the Pacers and played in the minor leagues in the old CBA, and I coached in the old CBA against Everett. So that helped a lot. I mean, when he was on his visit, his dad winked at me and said, Kendall's coming here. He doesn't know it yet, but he's coming here. And so that helped a lot. We talked about how he would have a green light, that if he came to Nevada, there wasn't a yellow light or a red light. It was going to constantly be green. And he had 3 green lights. And so, when we got the job, our program was like 320th in three-point shooting, and we knew that was a big-time deficiency. And we wanted to play fast and stretch the floor out, and he was perfect. Our ideal player is a 6'6" guy who can play multiple positions, and obviously Kendall can play the 2, 3, or 4 for us. And he makes a couple more threes, and he's going to go down in the history of the Mountain West as the greatest single-season three-point shooter ever. And that, he had really good year prior to his last year at Purdue, and he went through some things off the floor where a friend had passed away. And so I looked at that last year at Purdue, and we kind of threw those stats out because of his mental state, because it was a really hard year for him. And so we watched film of him the year before, and when he did have confidence and when he was getting consistent minutes, and we felt he was going to be a perfect fit for us, as his attitude was going to be perfect. And he's helped us with our identity and style of play. And I love reading the Field House, by the way.
Cincinnati's kind of known for its toughness. It's a program that's built on that with the defense and the rebounding. I guess, how would you describe the toughness of the team you guys are going to face tomorrow?
I mean, Coach Mick just does an incredible job. I've watched from afar for many years, and to get his guys to play as hard as they do, I think that's the number one, trait that you look for in any coach, whether it's the NFL, college football, any sport, MLB. Like, how hard do your guys play? That's more important than X and O's. And then how hard can you get him to play over the course of an entire season? And nobody can respect what he's done more than I do, because I think that for our program, and that's one of the things that we talked about from day one, is how do we gain respect from opponents? How do we gain respect from referees? How do we gain respect from national media members? That we play really, really hard. And Cincinnati is one of those teams that year after year after year after year, you can turn their game on in November, December, January, March. It doesn't matter. Like, those dudes play hard. And so we're going to have to play harder than we've played all year to stay with them.
We are halfway through the session. Next question is back here on the right.
Coach, you got to be one of the most hydrated coaches on the sideline. You always got a cup of water or something in your hand as you're going up and down. The question is, have you ever had to use the restroom while you were coaching a basketball game and seriously thought about leaving?
Yes, and yes, and yes. There are small sips that I'm taking because as you get older, you got to use the bathroom a little bit more. And so I do worry, especially when the timeouts are longer in this tournament. It's been a great concern of mine. Our staff's well prepared in case I have to leave. So far, so good, though.
Here to the center aisle. Karen, thank you.
You mentioned that the team was a little bit tight in the first half of the Texas game. Do you feel like they'll be looser in this game, just being out on the stage once? And, you guys are the underdog in this game. The pressure is not on you guys per se.
I think as long as we can keep me out of the locker room and not do pregame, they'll be a lot looser because I'm wound pretty tight. One of the assistants said maybe I should chill a little bit before the game, and the guys will chill. At halftime, I looked over to my left as I was writing on the dry erase board, and Cody was throwing up, which happens almost every game. He was not sick, but Cody finds a trash can every game and throws up. I looked at Caleb, and Caleb said, "Hey, Coach, he's cool. Don't worry about him. Just ignore him." But I do think that we were tight. I don't think we'll be tight because I think every team. I think Cincinnati's going to feel freer. I think we'll feel freer. I think anybody that advances, new arena, you're playing in an NBA type arena, sold out building, incredible for the student athletes to be able to play in this environment. And so I think that, we should be a little bit looser. I don't think it matters who we're playing. I think that it was trying to get that first game out. But I do know that, the more film we watch on Cincinnati, maybe we should stop rolling the film on Cincinnati because they can make you a little bit tight too, the way that they play and how hard they rebound the ball.
Cody is kind of known for his halftime throw-ups. I guess what was your thought process when you first saw him do that?
Our trainer said, "Don't worry about it, ignore it." At first I thought the guy had the flu, but then you can't have the flu for 31 games. So now it's just part of our routine.
Mariah was a little bit of a social media, maven, was trending for her little hit during the game. She says she wants to be a sports anchor. I guess what's your advice on her future career? Would you advise?
I just hope that my daughter can make as much money as my wife did at broadcasting. That would be awesome. Really, really be great for our family if she could start on her broadcasting career as soon as possible. And last night was a great start. It was a great interview process for her. We have tape now that we can roll and send to people. But it was a big moment for her, Chris, for sure. Big moment for our family.
Before we dismiss, we had Mick comment on the big upset last night, 16-1. You have a comment on that game, observation?
My only observation is that's why this is the greatest sporting event in the world. When things like that happen, it's so cool. So cool for all of us to be a part of this environment. It's I played in two of these. Well, I don't know if I played, but I was in uniform in two of these. And, I'm 53 years old, and it's still putting on a uniform and walking out for an NCAA tournament game as a player or a coach. There's nothing better. Coaching an NBA game, it doesn't compare to what goes on here. And when you see an upset like that, it's just absolutely incredible.
Final question right here.
Mick also was correcting media members who don't know how to say Nevada and his players who don't know how to say Nevada. I guess, did you always know how to say the name of the state correctly? And I guess, what is your reaction when people call it Nevada?
I always knew because I took a visit, and Coach Sonny Allen made sure that the day that I got off the plane for one of my 5 official visits that I knew how to pronounce it. And I give Coach Mick a lot of credit for being on top of his states, knowing exactly how to pronunciate our wonderful state.
We have the Wolfpack tomorrow against the Bearcats at 5:10. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Good luck.